What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. We need to talk about good old-fashioned censorship. I mean, when have we ever not talked about censorship on this channel? In fact, the mainstream media, a lot of people come to this platform or others on social media because they want to escape mainstream media. They want to get away from what they see as Donald Trump dubs as fake news. Very grateful for everybody who comes here. I hope you guys are enjoying the content on this channel. I want to talk today about why the media is lying to you. What purpose would they have in lying to you? It's important to remember in Canada that when you look at our media strains, when you look at where we are getting the funding in our media from, many YouTubers like myself, well, we're funded by members. We're funded by subscribers and viewers. We're funded by ad revenue that we get on these platforms with no budgets. Meanwhile, outfits like the CBC, CTV, Global News, the Toronto Star, they're all funded by the propaganda arm of the government. They're hiding news from people now because they don't want people to realize just how bad the world has become. There's a reason behind it. And it's scary because it's coming to a city near you in Canada. In fact, it's already here. The question now, when it comes to Canada, is when is it going to erupt? What am I talking about? Well, I want to show this tweet from Jim Ferguson. Now, I don't want to go over everything he was tweeting out. Jim Ferguson does elaborate a little bit. I like his tweets, but this is engagement, to say the least. This is engagement, how you get engagement on Twitter. And it's not a bad thing. But he doesn't have any negative points about all this either. I just feel that when you look at his tweet cycle, it seems to be more of the same. I'm not here to scrutinize. I'm putting my foot in my mouth here. He was tweeting out about what happened in Paris over the weekend. If you watch what went on in Paris, this was after, allegedly, said to happen after a PSG victory parade, sporting event. And you know about soccer hooligans, things like that over in Europe. In fact, if you've never watched European soccer or any sport over in Europe, I dare you to compare it to the NHL. I dare you compare it to any sport that you watch over here. The fans are very passionate. You could insult somebody's mother. But when you insult their team, watch out. It gets risky. Now, what happened in Paris? When we look at this, I'll clear the audio here. Absolute mayhem in the streets, riot police out in full force. You can see them hosing people down, trying to put an end to the chaos. And it wasn't just over a game. Like, people will say, well, Fringe, this happened with Vancouver and Boston years ago. We seen this after the Stanley Cup finals. There was rioting in the streets. There was destruction. There was protests. There was, people behaving badly, so to speak. It didn't stop there. Look at this. Look at what's going on in the streets here. Let's start at the beginning. Actual fires in the streets. People unable to move, for the most part. Absolute chaos in Paris. A lot of people were saying that this had to do with a sporting event. The sporting event is nothing more than a cover-up. Because while all of this destruction comes down, you can even see the tweet here, Paris is in a complete state of chaos. Europe has been taken over by Islamists. This is the result. Well, when you look at the long-arm propaganda machine of the government, what they talk about is PSG fans raise the roof as triumphant players hold aloft Champions League trophy. So they're saying that this was a celebration. Did that look like a celebration to anybody else? I certainly didn't think. We go down. I want to read what they covered to an extent, because this just shows you why Mark Carney's new online harms bill is dangerous for Canadians. Because you're being told that this is the news you can find online, but channels like this one, channels like Moose on the Loose, like Clinton Jaws, Northern Perspective, you can't find them in search results. Even True North, Juno News, you can't find those guys. Rebel News through search results. Only certified news outlets like this that talk about a celebration in Paris when we just witnessed utter chaos. Paris Saint-Germain players walked out in a wall of noise in the home stadium on Sunday and brandished aloft the Champions League trophy their fans have waited so long to savor. Blah, blah, blah. They talk about the sporting events. But here's where it gets interesting. PSG denounces isolated acts of violence. The exuberance on display in most places was overshadowed by the unaliving of 2 people and some 200 injuries during Saturday night's celebrations. A total of 294 arrests have been made overnight, and 2 cars were set alight close to Parc des Princes, which had shown the game live. Now it's saying 2 cars were set on fire. This looks like more than 2 fires. In fact, I'm counting 3 so far. 4 up ahead. There's another one up ahead. You can kind of see it in the side. Oh, 5. There's one in the trash can. like this is where people like, and the mainstream media gets mad when you talk about these things because they say you're spreading misinformation. You're spreading false facts. We just saw video. Their article, which I would believe is a form of, now it's not really misinformation, but so more twisting it around to try and hide what's going on. It's a distraction. It's not really misinformation. They're just not acknowledging what happened. It says here 2 cars were set alight near where they were showing the game live. The overnight fatalities marred a night of exuberance after PSG clinched its first long-awaited Champions League title. The Eiffel Tower glowed in team colors. The fans partied through the night. Yeah, they certainly did. They denounced the violence. These isolated acts are contrary to the club's values and don't all represent the immense majority of our fans. Well, what's funny is if we go back over to Twitter, let's take a look at this tweet again. Paris is in flames. French women scream in terror as migrant gangs rampage through the streets. Shops looted. Police attacked. The Champs-Élysées torn apart. This isn't random. This is engineered collapse fueled by open borders and globalist betrayal. So they're saying that this is all result now of mass immigration. What this means, mass illegal migration is a policy failure. It's a weapon. Macron and his globalist elites aren't overwhelmed. They're complicit. The same forces Vlad Tepes drove back from Europe are now being welcomed in by design. The media stays silent while Europe is being overrun. We just saw that with CTV. Now they're not being silent. They're just not giving you all the facts. I mean, take a look at what's going on here. Does this look isolated to you? Does this look like it's just a couple people partying that got out of control? I don't know about you guys, but this looks like mass immigration to me. Now, I'm just speculating because I don't live there. I don't understand what's going on. But you see the tear gas. You see the streets overrun. Right? Like, what are we supposed to make of this? This is beyond what happened in Vancouver when Boston won the Stanley Cup. And there's 5 minutes of footage here. 5 minutes of footage does not seem isolated to me. Like if I skip ahead, there's part of what we saw before. There's people jumping on top of cars. There's people breaking windows, looting stores, people filling the streets, slowing traffic. Like, look at this. Does this look isolated to anybody? Does this look like people celebrating? People could make the argument, I guess, with fireworks going up in the air. This doesn't look celebratory to me. There's riot police. There's people shooting Roman candles at the police. They said 2 cars were set ablaze. Look at this. Look at they're destroying the city. Look at the vandalism. Like, yes, there's people in garb that celebrate the sport, but look at this. Cars are being attacked. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, anybody who says, well, Fringe, this happened in Paris, why is CTV covering it? Why are we talking about it? Because it's on its way to Canada. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it's already here. I showed this on live stream last Friday night. If you haven't joined us for our live streams, make sure to come out Friday night for Friday Night Fringe. I want to show you this graph. Let me just get it nice and centered for you here. This is the white percent of the total population in 1971. Now, I'm not saying that Canada needs to be a purely white country. What I'm talking about here is how mass immigration is shaping the landscape of Canada as time goes on with open borders. The problem with our open borders isn't that we're just trying to be nice, that we're just trying to open up so that people have a fair shake. That's how it started out. But as time went on, government was quickly starting to realize that these people don't know anything about our politics, that when you give these folks citizenship, they typically vote for whoever brought them in. They're buying votes. That's all this is. That's why you'll never see any politician say they're going to shut down immigration altogether, or they're going to start seriously vetting who they bring in. They're easy votes. Let's take a look at this graph. Here's 1971. Now, from 1971 to 1996, do you see this? It went from 93% white population, 95, 94, 92, 96, 97, 99, 99, 99, 98. I know I said that fast. But look at this. We go from 1971 to 1996. It's already dropped almost 20 points in BC. In Yukon, it's gone down to 85 in Alberta, 86 Saskatchewan, 81 Manitoba, 83 Quebec, Newfoundland, and Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick. They all stay in the high 90s. Not a lot changes for them. A lot of what happens is they come in through Quebec, through places like Roxham Road, and they've been sent to Ontario. And Ontario tells Western provinces, well, you're going to take them. This is also where the jobs are. Now look as we go forward from 1996. 2001. British Columbia and Yukon dropped to 73 and 74. Alberta still sits around 83, 84 for Saskatchewan, 79 in Manitoba, 79 in Ontario. Again, eastern provinces still stay high. Now look as 2001 moves on. 2006. Now it goes down to 70 in British Columbia, 80, 82, 75, 75. Eastern provinces stay high. 2011. Now you see 67 in British Columbia, 70 in Manitoba. And watch as it continues. 2016, 2021, 2026 projection. This is so scary to think about. And not because it's a racist thing, this has nothing to do with race. What we're talking about is replacing Canada's identity. What you just saw in Paris is the result of open borders and mass immigration. We already went through an election period where Pierre Poilievre's top concerns was crime in our country. Crime caused by mass immigration. Ports that were running out stolen vehicles. People in Toronto being told just leave your keys out so you don't have to deal with thieves. What's our landscape going to look like next year if this comes to pass? And it will. We're outnumbered. And it doesn't matter how many police you have. Keep in mind, these people, the majority of these asylum seekers, keep in mind, when you're seeking asylum, you're not coming from the United States. You're not coming from Germany. You're coming from what Donald Trump classifies as shithole countries. And there's no light way to put it. You're coming from countries that the laws really don't pertain to people. This is why they behave like this. This is why they break the law. They're given bail, not jail. We're told it's racist to put them in jail. So when half the population is replaced by those who seek to do harm, those who seek to rise up and fight our police, to break into our homes, smash our businesses, steal, harm our women and children, what are we supposed to do moving forward as a country? We won't have enough police, enough military, enough... the government, you've already seen it in Ontario when you look at the Hamas holes, as I call them, flooding the streets, causing violence. Now, you'll notice that in Alberta, and I'm not always trying to say Alberta's better, but you'll notice in Calgary last year, a bunch of these guys were waving Palestinian flags and camping out on the University of Calgary campus site. Within 24 hours, the police were told and instructed, go in there, get them out of here, shut it down. Guess what, folks? They haven't come back. But you look at cities like Toronto, where they're told you're free to walk the streets, you're free to clog up our roads, you're free to pray in the streets, go to malls. block people from doing things, block bridgeways, stop trucks from entering food banks, disrupt supply chains. It's all okay. Where do you think we're going to be next year when those numbers I just showed you come to pass? This is the reason that not just Alberta, but other provinces are talking about independence, that they want away from this government. They want control. They want the ability to say, we're not doing this anymore. I know the last time I spoke with Danielle Smith, she shared the same sentiment that Alberta has done its fair share. We're already in trouble with what we've taken. We don't want any more. We're not going to turn into a sanctuary province. We're not going to allow that. I feel bad for other provinces in Canada that have the same issues, that have the same security concerns. Let me know what you think down below needs to happen. Let me know if you ever think it's going to be handled. Or is Canada about to be taken over? It's your first time here. I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for notification. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show where I'm joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we go back and forth discussing everything that's happened this week in Canadian politics, everything that we know that's coming up ahead, as well as back and forth within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. I look forward to chatting with you guys outside and making these videos, but I most importantly look forward to chatting with you this Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.